try sitting at this desk. So part 2 of class number 1. Today I am going to finish off with talking about lavender, rosemary leaf, black walnut hulls, ginger, and then alkaline in the diet and why that is important. Okay. So lavender is most commonly known for being a relaxation herb. It really helps with anxiety, sleep, and it can be used a number of ways, whether it's essential oils, tea, infusions, adding to your bath. Again, with lavender, it is endless, and it is my favorite, one of my favorite herbs. I have many favorite herbs, but even before I became an herbalist, lavender has been my favorite herb. So let's talk about the other benefits to lavender that you might not know about, and also how lavender had a huge part in essential oils being discovered to have therapeutic properties. And I am going to go over 2 types of lavender, and I will list them right here. And this is one of the main reasons that I talked about knowing the Latin binomial names, because this form of lavender, though similar, has some differences to the lavender we're talking about today, Lavandula angustifolia. So as mentioned, lavender helps with anxiety, like stress. It really helps to just calm the body and the mind. It's also an anticonvulsant, an antioxidant, an anti-inflammatory, and it has antimicrobial activity. I'm going to, on the next slide, just list a bunch more of the therapeutic properties as well as the active constituents of this form of lavender and the second form of lavender, so that you can see the differences. And I'm also going to go over the way that essential oil was founded and who founded it, and it's actually a really interesting story. So slide please. So the main thing with lavender is these active constituents in the other in the other species and or different forms of lavender, these active constituents can range in the amount there is in the plant, and that's why um, those two forms of lavender that we went over are used for different things. Lavender is most commonly used in aromatherapy um, as an essential oil, but even though it is growing with aromatherapy growing, lavender is traditionally ingested. Um, you can find lavender in a lot of teas, and even it's becoming more popular to put in like coffees as a flavoring, but you do want to stay from like the artificial flavorings. They do have these in them, which are cancer causing. So it does have sedative qualities to it, which is what makes it like a calming herb. Um, the sedative properties to it are not as strong as skullcap, which I brought up in the first part of this class. Um, I keep bringing up skullcap because it is also one of my favorite herbs, and I again will talk about that in the next class. But um, lavender does have sedative properties to it, but it would not be something that I would be concerned about if you are taking something else that has sedative qualities. If you do also take lavender, it's not going to have as adverse like side effects as if you were to use something such as skullcap, which has very strong sedative qualities. They've done a lot of studies on lavender with mice, which I do not like the use of any animals in studies, but what they have shown is mice who had lavender like near their cages, they were showing signs of being a lot calmer. So it really does help with anxiety. You will find it in a lot of tinctures for anxiety relief, and it is actually one of the herbs that I am going to use in the first tincture I'm going to make. I have just made an executive decision. I know I think I had mentioned at one point that I was going to ask you all what you wanted the first tincture to be that I was going to make. But just with the way of the world right now, I think an anti-anxiety one could be useful for all of us. And it also boosts your mood. So win-win. So there was a study done, and I'm going to put more on that in the next slide. But essentially, they said that in this research study, they found that the use of lavender, the use of lavender for generalized anxiety disorder was comparable to consuming or taking zero point 0.5 milligrams of Xanax, which is a benzodiazepine. And again, not only that, it helps improve the mood because oftentimes, I think most of the time, when you have anxiety, depression is very common to come with it. And I think a lot of that has to do with being anxious. It's like a vicious cycle. So again, this is why lavender is just one of my favorite herbs all around. It has so many benefits. And it is one of those herbs that is considered mostly safe. So lavender is one that if you haven't heard of it by chance, I mean, definitely add it to your cupboard of herbal medicine. Now I'm going to go over where you can find lavender, how to harvest lavender, and then also just show you a few different other species of lavender so you can differentiate between them and know which one it is that you want to harvest or grow, whatever it may be. So if it couldn't get any better, lavender also helps with pain. It is a natural pain reliever. And I'm just going to read off this here, what this says, and I will also link this PubMed article in the upload when I upload this to Patreon. So if you see a link below, it's going to link you to this scholarly article. And like we talked about in the first episode, scholarly websites are the way to go if you're researching herbs more, if you don't have access to the book, or just to even really learn more about them. I love getting on PubMed and seeing all this information, from different perspectives, but they're essentially, saying the same thing. One thing I wanted to mention, when you are using PubMed, it is best to find sources or any like scholarly sources that have been either posted or updated in the last 5 years, because as science is always discovering new things, and a lot of times, there's stuff from 10 years ago that they didn't realize had the therapeutic properties that they have now discovered that they have. So, when you are looking at scholarly sources, it's not like bad to look at ones that are from over 5 years ago, but just keep in mind that that is why it is recommended to get your information not just from scholarly sources, but recent scholarly sources. So on this article, it says the use of lavender on a foot massage, the essential oil, in 100 ICU patients, whom 50% were receiving artificial ventilation, was effective in lowering blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate, wakefulness, and pain. Treatment of recurrent aphthous ulceration with lavender oil in 115 patients revealed a significant pain relief, mostly from the first dose. And it also reduced the size of the ulcers. And it healed them within 3 days. So it definitely showed improvements compared to those that were in the research study who were getting the placebo. It has also been shown that prior to getting any like needle injections in the face, there was another study, they put a face mask with lavender in it, and it significantly reduced the pain that the people in the case study actually felt. So not only is lavender great for everything else I mentioned, but it is less commonly known for being a pain reliever. So now I'm just going to finish off the lavender section with a few more slides of information that I found to be interesting, and I want to share with you guys. So we're going to go on to that, and then I will jump right into rosemary leaf. And then after that, we will go on to black walnut hull, ginger, and then alkaline in the diet. So this was an in-between part of my very first class. I just wanted to show all you other tiers what we are doing in the classes. This is a continuation of what we have gone over in the very first class. I will finish the remainder of this first class episode, and I will have it uploaded by Wednesday or Thursday. I just wanted to get this one out there so the other tiers could see what's going on in these classes.